Welcome to Release Your Potential Now with Jane, your weekly dose of energy, wisdom, and healing, where we explore how energy shapes your life and how you can shift it to thrive in every area physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Each week, we'll dive into practical tools, real-world examples, and quantum energy perspectives to help you stay positive, navigate challenges, and reclaim your personal power. Whether you're dealing with stress, seeking balance, or curious about the energetic world around you, this is your space for insight, growth, and transformation.
What if the change you want does not require a giant leap? What if it begins with one small choice, one small action, one small step repeated over time? So many people get discouraged because they're looking for dramatic results right away. But real growth often starts much smaller than that. Today, we're talking about the seeds you are planting every day through your choices, your habits, your attention, and your energy. Because small steps really do create big change. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Release Your Potential Now with Jane. I'm Jane Phillips. This month, we've been talking about spring as a season of growth, planting, and possibility. In our last episode, we talked about asking yourself, what do you want to grow this year? And choose goals that matter. That episode was about getting clear, getting honest, and choosing 1 to 3 areas of life that really matter to you, instead of scattering your energy in too many directions. And today we're talking about taking the next step. Because once you know what you want to grow, the next question becomes, what are you planting now? Today's episode is called Plant the Right Seeds. Small steps create big change. Small steps create big change if we plant the right seeds. This is such an important conversation because many people think change only counts if it looks big, bold, fast, or dramatic. But that is not usually how growth happens. Growth usually begins quietly. It begins with a new thought, could be a new decision, new habit, new boundary, a new willingness to do or be something, and a small act of follow-through. And in the same way that a garden begins with seeds, the life we want to build also begins with what we plant consistently over time. So today we're going to talk about how small steps can shift your life in meaningful ways, why people often overlook the power of those small steps, and how to start planting more intentionally in the areas that matter most to you. So big goals can feel paralyzing. One of the biggest reasons people get stuck is because they make the goal too big in their mind. You think, I need to fix everything, do it perfectly, have a complete plan all the way from start to finish, or I need to feel completely ready first. And when the goal starts feeling too big, too far away, or too overwhelming, many of you do one of two things. We either freeze and do nothing, I've been there, or start strong and then burn out quickly. I've done that a lot of times myself. And this is why small steps matter so much. They help reduce resistance. A small step is less intimidating. A small step helps your nervous system feels safer. It's more reachable and creates movement instead of pressure. And movement matters. Because once something starts moving, it's easier to keep moving. I think sometimes we dismiss the small steps because they do not feel significant enough. But honestly, a lot of life changes because of small things done consistently, not because of one giant breakthrough moment. A 5-minute action can matter. One phone call that you've been avoiding can matter. Or a 10-minute cleanup, maybe of your desk, can make a difference. One healthier choice can matter, and one honest conversation can matter. It depends on what direction that step is taking you. So you're always planting something. And here's something I want you to think about today. Whether you realize it or not, when you're planting something, you plant through your habits and through your routines. You plant through your thoughts. Negativity or positivity expands. You plant through your choices and what you repeat. You plant through what you avoid and where you focus your energy. So if you keep putting your attention into fear, that plants something. Or telling yourself that nothing will change, that also plants something. And if you take care of everybody else and never take care of yourself, that also plants something. Ignoring your finances plants something. So the question becomes, are you planting by default or by intention? And that is where your power is. And once you become conscious, you can begin choosing differently. You may not be able to change everything overnight, but you can become more conscious of what you're reinforcing every day. So I wanted to give a little life example. So for me, I'm as a solopreneur and wanting to be able to talk to you and share some of my experiences, I try to stay out of overwhelm, and I have a lot of anxiety a lot of times. And so when maybe a couple of years ago, I got the idea of, from something I read about doing first things first and finishing what you start. Because our bigger goals, we all have daily chores, work things with a deadline. But the bigger goals can kind of be put aside. And so what I do is I have sticky or Post-it notes that I have in my office with these two messages on them clearly visible, which is finish what you start and first things first. That doesn't mean that I'm not working on my bigger goals, but if I'm starting to get cluttered in my mind with all the things I haven't done, then one of my goals for the day, which is what I did today, is to allow a couple of hours. In this case, it was 2 hours, because I had a lot of client notes that I need to send out to clients, and I also don't scan anymore. So I type them up because I can type faster. And when I'm doing a session, it's easier to just scribble things, but then that's not in a place that I can send to any of my clients. So this morning, first things first was all of those client notes. I had about 7 of them, but I took the time to finish them. I realized that first things first was not working on this podcast for you today, but was to finish that up so that when I was talking to you, I would be in a clear, uncluttered space without all these other to-do things in my mind. So I do set time aside to clear up the clutter. It may not happen every day that I do that, but it helps a lot to set some time up so that the big goal, that your small steps for the big goal that seem to be getting delayed, doesn't mean that you can't move forward with it. So I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of what I do to kind of stay in control. And yes, I do get a little overwhelmed, as we all do, but I've also learned when I do first things first, if something really isn't a priority, but it's bugging me, I figure out a way to just get it off my list, because that's just cluttering up what I need to do first and being able to do this podcast for you today, which was important. So the end result of me trying to do this podcast, finishing and recording early this morning, is happening this afternoon around 3 p.m. And because I did all the decluttering early, working on this, I'm in a happier place and more present for you. So I removed my mental clutter. That was important. Finally, it'd been getting stuck for a couple of days, and now I'm in a better place to stay focused and help you out today. So we're talking about small steps to a bigger goal for the year. And last week on our podcast, we were talking about your big choices, the 1 to 3 things that were really important. So we're talking small steps related to those 1 to 3 things. So that you want to accomplish for the year. This is really, you want to figure out what you can do daily. It might be about health or something else, but we want to keep that focus for what we're doing today. So today we're talking about planting the seeds in small steps that create big change. So once you've chosen your 1 to 3 important goals for the year, and it might be that the big one is just one, and that's all you need to focus on. The next question after you've chosen your 1 to 3 goals is, what small seeds do I need to plant now to support those bigger goals? And I recommend that you don't try and do a small seed every day that's different from the one before. You might have something you can consistently do. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute here. So what small seeds do you need to support those bigger goals? And that's really the heart of this episode. A yearly goal can feel big and sometimes even exciting, but still big. And if it feels too big for you, you can freeze or procrastinate or lose momentum because you are focused on how far you are from your goal. And as we spoke about in previous podcasts, it's best to measure and celebrate the progress you've made instead of measuring how far you have to go, because that can feel really defeating. Your journey begins with a single step. And remember the story of how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Your seed is the elephant bite. A seed is small, manageable, and something you actually can do fairly easily. So if you've chosen 1 to 3 important areas to focus on this year, the goal now is to ask, what small action repeated consistently would help that goal grow over time? Because the yearly goal is the bigger vision. The seed is the action that supports it. And let's make that practical with some ideas for you. If one of your bigger goals for the year is to improve your health, maybe it's lose weight or eat better or take better care of yourself, that seed does not have to be dramatic. It could be as simple as drinking an extra glass of water each day, or taking a 15 to 30-minute walk 3 times a week, or maybe going to bed a little bit earlier. It might be a half an hour, it might be an hour earlier, to try and get 8 hours of rest and sleep. Or perhaps stretching will help you 5 or 10 minutes daily. Or taking a look at your morning routine and creating a calmer, less hectic morning routine so you start your day in a better place. These may seem unimportant, but simple is often what works. The yearly goal might be, I want to have more stamina in my body by the fall. The seed is a small action that supports that goal now. So perhaps one of your goals for the year is to feel more stable, organized, and confident with your finances. The seed may be very small. It could be opening your bills weekly instead of avoiding them, or reviewing your bank balance once a week, or setting aside a certain amount of money every time you got paid. Or maybe this is something I do, tracking your spending, or tracking one area of your spending where you feel like it might be out of sync. Or perhaps creating one realistic savings goal. And we're talking realistic. If realistic is $10 per week, that's what's realistic. It might be that you do 2 less Starbucks coffees and put your $10 into a savings account. That's $520, by the way, at the end of the year. So create one realistic savings goal. And the bigger yearly goal might be, I want to feel more financially steady by the end of the year. The seed is small, repeatable steps, action steps that helps you move there. Another idea is whether we have an apartment or a home or a room that we're in, is there a way you want to create a better space for you living there? So if your yearly goal is to make your home space, whatever it is, feel lighter, calmer, and more beautiful and functional, you do not have to do everything at once. The seed might be clearing one drawer or shelf, or spending 10 minutes a day in one area in your space, or completing an overdue repair, or choosing one room, if you have more than one room, to improve first. And it might be painting, or it might be just rearranging the furniture, or it might be new bedding, and if you can afford that. So the larger goal might be, I want my home to feel more welcoming and supportive by the fall. The seed is what helps that happen, one small step at a time. And if one of your goals for the year is more connection, stronger relationships, and less isolation, that also grows from small, repeated choices. And a seed might be reaching out to one person each week, or scheduling one lunch or visit each month, or calling instead of texting someone once in a while. Being more present during conversations, really paying attention and listening, or making time for the people who matter most to you. The yearly goal might be, I want more meaningful connection in my life this year. And again, the seed is a small action that helps you create that result. You may also find that you want to have more fun in your life, or learn a new skill, or deepen a spiritual practice, or create more peace in your daily routine. Those goals matter too. And if it's one of your big ones, then pay attention with the small seeds. The important thing is still the same. Choose the larger goal, then identify the small seed that supports it. So the question is not just, what do I want by the end of the year? The real question is, what am I willing to plant and keep watering so that the goal has a chance to grow? And this is where the change happens. It's not just a wish, and it's not just an idea, but in the choosing to make small, steady actions that supports what's matter to you is important. And that's where the change is. So one of the most beautiful things about small steps is that they build trust with yourself. Every time you follow through on something small, you send yourself a message. I can do this. I'm moving forward. I'm not as stuck as I thought. And that matters because you do not just need results. You need a restored relationship with yourself. Maybe you have broken trust with yourself by delaying, avoiding, overpromising, or giving up too quickly. And when you choose one small action and actually do it on a regular basis, you begin rebuilding that trust. And that is part of the growth too. So maybe the goal this week is not to finish everything. Maybe the goal is simply to plant one right seed, take one step and one action, one shift, one follow through, and then repeat it. You do not have to force giant motivation. You do not have to wait until you feel completely ready. You just need to begin where you are. Because small steps, repeated with intention, create big change. So here are a few questions I'd like to leave you with today. What am I planting in my life right now? Is it supporting my year-end goals? And then, are my daily choices supporting what I say I want? Because sometimes we say one thing and then our actions don't support it. Another one, where have I been waiting for a giant leap instead of taking one small step? And what one seed can I plant this week? And what would it look like to trust that small changes matter? These are powerful questions you can ask yourself, because when you answer them honestly, you begin to see that growth is often less about force and more about consistency. So I'd like to do just a little commercial. As a medical intuitive, I work with people when we're stuck. And maybe it's physically, There are injuries that are creating our inability to function well. It could be mentally stuck. It could be you really would love a loving relationship, but you don't know where to start or nothing seems to be happening. As a body code practitioner and certified body code person and emotion code practitioner and medical intuitive, I address a lot of these issues with my clients on a daily and regular basis. So if you want to know a little bit more, just have a consult to see if I would be able to support you on this. You can go to janecphillips.com and click on my Release Your Potential Now website and schedule a consult with me so that we can talk through for about 20 minutes and see if you and I think there's a fit here that I can help you. So as we close today, I want to remind you that you do not need to transform your whole life in one sweep. We're in the spring of the year where things are being planted and growth is possible with regular watering and care. So it's not about having everything perfect or totally planned out. You do not need to have all the answers. You do not need to do something huge for it to matter. What you need is willingness to take some steps forward. And as you move forward, you will get the information about where to go next, because what you thought was where you were headed might be not exactly the path that you end up on. And it's important to be able to slow down enough to start moving forward and then trust that you will be given further steps. So be willing to notice what you want to grow. Be willing to choose a small, meaningful step on a regular basis, and be willing to keep tending and watering what matters. This is how change begins. So this week, ask yourself, what is one right seed that I can plant now? Make it simple, doable, and let that be enough to begin. Thank you for joining me today on Release Your Potential Now with Jane. Next week, we'll continue our April series with Don't Dig Up the Seeds, Trust the Process. And the conversation will be all about patience, consistency, and learning to stay steady even when the results are not yet visible. Until next time, take good care of yourself, stay grounded, and keep planting the life you want to grow. I'm Jane Phillips, and this is Release Your Potential Now with Jane.
You've been listening to Release Your Potential Now with Jane, your weekly dose of energy wisdom and healing. Tune in on Transformation Talk Radio to unlock the power of energy healing and transform your life one insight at a time. Share this episode with a friend who's feeling stuck and might benefit from a little extra support on their journey. Together, we can create a ripple effect of healing and positivity, empowering individuals to live healthier, more joyful lives. Are you ready to gain control of your life and health? Then visit janecphillips.com to book a session, join a workshop, or explore how energy wisdom can help you heal and thrive.